Hi, everybody. We are here now with JD and Phyllis, and this is a place that we have created to relax, connect, and gain some insight. So, last time we met, we talked about shock and what that looks like in the body, and how right now, during this time in the world, we're all in shock. And just a recap on that, we talked about, what that looks like in our body. We talked about some ways to navigate that. And one thing we didn't mention last time is that with shock, that is our body's way of protecting us in a way like when you get anesthesia, when you have surgery, so we don't feel the full force and the magnitude of what's going on. That's what shock is doing for us. Would you agree, Phyllis?
Absolutely. Well said.
Okay, thank you. So thank you everybody for joining us again. This is our second time meeting, and today we are going to talk about stress and the differences between shock and stress, what stress looks like, and how we can cope with that. So we have Phyllis again here today. Thanks for coming, Phyllis.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about stress.
Okay, so stress, it's more long-term. Shock usually is that short-term, like you said, it's a protectionary thing that our bodies, immediately goes into protection mode. Stress can last a long time, and probably everybody listening is like, yes, I've been stressed since 1997. I know it.
Yeah.
Right. So some of the symptoms of stress, some of the physical symptoms are headaches, low energy. It's really easy to get sick. You always feel run down. You don't sleep well. Let's see, you might have loss of sexual desire, which is sad because that's a way to relieve stress. But if nobody's wanting to do that,
Yeah.
how do you get around that? Some of the emotional symptoms, depression. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. Okay.
Okay, there she is.
Sorry. I had an call. Sorry. But some of the emotional symptoms are depression, anxiety, feeling really agitated. Parents know this, sometimes we just snap at our kids and they haven't done anything. We know it, but we're so stressed out and we're so overtaxed, overwhelmed that's it just comes out in a lash out.
Our tolerance is a lot. Like you're so full of stress, so you have like this much space left.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we know now through research and things, all of the breakdowns in our body that can happen because we have high stress going on, the over cortisol in our body and adrenaline and all of the things that it does in breaking down our body's tissues. So I don't know how many years it can take off your life, but I do know that lifespan can be shortened if you're under a great deal of stress. Mm-hmm. So what's tricky about it, and I think we've been really good as Americans being able to turn off noticing how stressed out we are. Mm-hmm. Our body is sending us the signals, right? And we're just
ignoring it.
Mm-hmm, we'll just have our fourth cup of coffee and we'll just power through and we'll get through it. And so there's a lot of the feeling like, I don't want to do this. I don't even know if I can, but I'm going to Red Bull it through this meeting at work or, working all day, but then I have to grocery shop and make sure my kids get to basketball and call my mom because she hasn't been well. And, all of those things that we have to do.
Mm-hmm. So, I can relate to that in my own life, like just adding all of these things to my plate and being tired and ignoring that. And like you said, the cup of coffee or the Red Bull and just pushing through it like constantly and ignoring everything that's going on around, like what my body is trying to tell me. It's trying to tell me to stop. And I completely ignore it and disregard it. And until I either remember to check in with myself or I get sick. I get ran down. I get a cold. My body starts to ache or my back starts to hurt. My body is just screaming, hey, stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm working with people and we're talking about these things, they are talking about having panic attacks. Their stress is so big, the anxiety is so high that we're having panic attacks. And one of the first things I kind of joke to them about is like, well, congratulations, your body's working. Your body's trying to talk to you. It's trying to tell you something. Have you slowed down for a minute to ask it what it needs? And that sometimes can bring a flood of tears, especially from women, when they really sit for a minute quietly listening to their body about what it needs, and how out of touch they are with their body and their needs. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, my kids are screaming. Can you hear that?
What? You have kids?
About the
How do they make sounds in their house?
panic. Okay, give me a minute. You talk.
You're fine. Mine are quiet because I put them downstairs with a video game, some goldfish crackers, and some ginger ale. So, you know, I'm just doing the best that I can right now and keeping them occupied. They've been watching TV and eating snacks all day. My youngest one, he has been playing in the backyard quite a bit with some rocks and some sticks and some chalk. So
So
I
good.
was just telling them my kids aren't making sounds because I gave them some snacks and a video game.
Nice, perfect. Yeah, no one just heard me go, oh my gosh, be quiet.
Dip it right now. My
The joy.
my 6-year-old, I have this big chalkboard in my dining room,
Yeah.
and this is where I plan to put our schedule. You know, like we're gonna wake up at 7:30 and we're gonna do some mindfulness and and we're gonna go for a walk, and from this time to this time we're gonna do this. And I've written a few things on there, and my 6-year-old has started taking the chalk marker and putting X every time mommy gets frustrated. I get an X.
That's so good. Oh,
I know. No gold stars for me this week.
right. Well, anyone listening, I'm sure they're like, yeah, I totally get it. Being quarantined and we don't really know how long, we've been really cooped up for the last couple weeks, and how long will this go? We don't know. We don't know.
That's one of the things that makes it even more difficult is we just don't know.
Yeah.
So how much do we settle into this new norm? Or are we just waiting for it to stop? And, there's going to be a shock for us when this ends too.
Oh yeah, good point. Just all of a sudden jumping right back into what we did before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, kids, yeah, if they're out of school the rest of this year and then go back in the fall when they really haven't for 6 months had a school routine, it's going to be, we're going to have to practice a lot of patience with each other and ourselves, especially.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, some of the ways, do you want to talk about some of the ways that to reduce stress?
Yes, I do. Tell me the ways, old wise one.
I took it to the Google. This is what they're but the number one thing is exercise, which we sometimes don't feel like we want to do. Or want to do that. And so what I want to say about exercise is you're not able right now to do the things that you were prior because you don't have the same kind of resources available to you. So give yourself grace with that. Also, if you're in a really adrenalized, high cortisol state, to go run a half marathon, your body doesn't want to do that. So be creative on how exercise looks for you. If you normally exercised for 30 minutes, start at 15. Go for a brisk walk. Maybe instead of running a 5K, you run a mile. Maybe you do chair yoga. Maybe you set your timer in the last 15 minutes of every hour, you get up and you do dishes and you start a load of laundry. So it doesn't have to be, I'm at the gym pumping iron.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what have you been doing?
Yeah. So I have been doing yoga, been really good about doing yoga. And what's funny is I know yoga would be really good for me, but I didn't really want to do it, but just making myself, now I love it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do at least 30 minutes a day. And sometimes I don't even have that 30-minute, or my attention can't last that long with all that's going on. So I'll do 15 when I wake up, 15 when I go to bed. I've also been running and walking. They have some really great videos that are non-weight. It's like, body weight for weights. And I've been just YouTubing. What have you been doing?
So I haven't been able to do a lot normally during this time, and when I'm stressed, I like to run. But I haven't been able to run because I had knee surgery and I'm in recovery of that, which has also forced me to slow down. Like, this is the perfect storm for me. um, but I have been walking every day, even if it's, 3 blocks, just getting up and moving my body. So yeah, that's one thing. And I have been like picking up my kitchen. So I'll get up and I'll unload the dishwasher. It might take me 4 hours, but just to move my body and encouraging my kids to get out and go for a walk. And I have to model that. Well, I don't have to, but I try to model that for them. So just getting up and moving a little bit, even if it's just going out in the yard and walking around and taking my shoes off and putting my feet in the grass and getting grounded and, stretching. Stretching has been a really good one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah. And I like modeling that to kids. This
Mm-hmm.
is so important. And they're watching how we're handling this greatest of stress of ours. They're
Yeah,
watching us. And we can really teach them how you're going to handle the tough things in life right now.
that's true. And each other. We can model that for each other.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just important to have these conversations and to share our knowledge and to share our experiences and be vulnerable in that and connect in that way and learn from each other. Even like the last week, I've learned so much from you just in having these conversations. And it's allowed me to be more mindful of, how I'm interacting in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Same. Very good. Some other things that you can do. One of them is take supplements. I know a lot of us are low on vitamin D or iron or things like that. So a good vitamin, a good supplement to
Mm-hmm.
your diet, especially now. I don't know how your COVID diet looks, but it is not super healthy.
Um,
That's but when we run out of fruits and vegetables, it's canned stuff or yeah.
yeah.
So a good vitamin right now is important.
And I have a feeling that a lot of us are not eating the healthiest. Even when you go out in the grocery stores and you look at what's not on the shelves,
Yeah, yes.
it's carbs, it's sugar, it's, those foods with all the preservatives. And I understand that those are the things that last the longest. But that's what a lot of us have been putting in our body, and it really does impact our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Find ways of doing things that you love that de-stresses you, even a little thing as simple as lighting a candle that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good, or taking your pet, your dog on a walk, or just sitting for 30 minutes snuggling your kiddo, or, all of those things that kind of lower your blood pressure and get your stress out.
Right, right. So is there anything in particular that you've been doing that you find to relieve some of that stress?
Well, so at my house, we're a bit of gamers. Like I grew up a poor kid. There were 9 kids in my family, and we had one Nintendo. And so we would just play games. So my son and I, my youngest son, we just got the new Dragon Quest game. So kind of nerdy, but it's so fun. And I love my kids like totally want to do that with me. So I've been doing that. And you know what? Also sleeping whenever the heck I feel like it.
Yes.
I'm just sleeping. And I'm not setting my alarm. Whenever I wake up in the morning, I wake up.
Yes.
Afternoon, I want a nap. Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Exactly. So I've been doing a few things. I have been really conscious about going outside with my youngest.
Mhm.
He's got such an imagination, and so yesterday he took all of our lawn furniture and made a boat.
Oh,
So I went on this like journey, around the world in lawn furniture with him, and we went fishing with a stick and a string. Um,
nice.
so, doing some of those uh, just real innocent things that
Yeah.
I haven't made time for in a long time. Something else that I have found that has helped me is tapping into my creative side.
Great. Yeah.
Um, so I've been doing some painting and some writing and just giving myself the freedom to be creative and try new things.
Like this thing we're doing.
Exactly. This is something that I've been thinking about, gosh, since like October,
Yeah.
doing something like this in a podcast and putting myself out there and trying new things and being creative. That's really hard for me
Yeah.
because I want it to be just perfect, just right, and to come across as, I just have it all together, and I don't. I don't know all the things, and I'm just a human and
Yeah.
kind of quirky and messy sometimes, but
Yeah.
what the heck? Here we are, Phyllis.
Here we are. We're doing it. We're for everyone. Yeah. Great. I'm tapping into creativity. Music is fantastic when you're stressed. Um, it can really calm you down, and just, breathing to music, listening to your favorite songs. I've been putting podcasts on or music and just going around, set my timer for an hour, and I just clean, 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 and sing along and listen to music. Music is really good. Reduce caffeine. This is very, very difficult. We just talked about you load up on the coffee and you go about your day, but really caffeine amps up the body and makes the jittery feeling more prominent.
Right,
So ways to reduce that.
right.
One of the things that I think is most important that I found is part of the stress and anxiety, especially right now, what we're feeling is a loss of control. So if you can take a minute and look at your schedule and your day, what is it that I do have control over? What
Mm,
control for myself? What can I control for my family? Um, I would say right now for me, it's media influences. I know we've talked about that before. I can control what I hear about, who I hear it from. I'm
yeah.
trying to listen to news organizations that are reputable and I hope aren't sensational, although it does kind of feel sensational by all of them right now.
Yeah.
Um, how often I see those things. Yeah, so taking control of the thing that is stressing you out. Yeah.
Mm. I think that's really helpful, just, to look at that. Like what, I mean, there's so much we don't have control over right now, and I think it's important to acknowledge that and validate ourselves that that doesn't feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just where we're at right now. But
Yeah.
there are so many things that we do have control over. I, oh, who was I talking to the other day? Maybe it was you because we've been talking a lot. But just using this time to become the best versions of ourselves. We have control over that and we have time for that right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much time to, I don't know, learn new things and talk to different people and read books and listen to music and all the things that we don't always make time for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I keep reminding myself this too shall pass. And when I look back on this time, what do I want to say I accomplished? Not that I have this big to-do list. I'm not stressing myself out in that way, but did I really take the time to spend with my family since we had it at our availability? Or what are the things that I focused on? How did I feel? Did I dwell on feeling out of control and scared and somewhat hopeless? Or did I try to find the places where I could see the good in things? Like, it's hard to be all contained in this house, but I'm also slowing down in ways that I haven't been able to for a very long time.
Right.
Feels really good. Like, I feel
Right.
like
It does.
my hair is better. I'm noticing how overworked I am. And so when I start back up with this routine, when this is all over with, what can I take off my plate?
Right. Yeah. I was talking to my family last night, and I have two older kids that aren't necessarily thrilled. They are all about their friends right now and being busy and football and track and all of the things. And we were talking last night, and I said, if a couple weeks ago somebody told you you get to not wake up at a certain time, you get to not have to go to school, you get to kind of do whatever you want whenever you want and hang out with your family and watch movies and go for walks and eliminate all the busyness, would you be all in? Like, doesn't that sound nice? And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds amazing. I said, that's what we get to do right now.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
like, yes, there's so many things we have to do, but in that realm of being forced to do things, there's a lot of things we get to do these things together.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
perspective and the language we use around that.
yeah, absolutely. And perspective, that's kind of, in Colorado here, we had several weeks where we were told stay at home, don't go anywhere unless necessary. And then we had a stay at home order from our governor. And it was like 5 minutes later, I was feeling really panicky. And I thought, wait, this doesn't change at all what I've been doing, but somehow that shift mentally that now I'm made to do this. So I had to step it back. This is something I want to do. And I know that because I've been doing it already for like 3 weeks.
Right.
you know, you can
Right.
do this. I think that's, yeah, the frame of mind. And there's a lot of work out with positive psychology right now and all of the benefits of thinking positive. I've encouraged people every morning, maybe even morning and night, to write something good that's coming out of this that you'll be able to read later. And some of the things on the list are, I'm working from home in PJs.
Yes.
Yay, or I'm connecting with neighbors in a way that I never have before. I'm seeing stories that are the best side of humanity, people who are sacrificing and loving one another. So really focus on those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think something that's not normally our go-to to try to find the positive things. So it's something that we have to be mindful of and remind ourselves. That's just not human nature. It's typically automatic to go to the negatives to look for what's wrong. That's just how we're wired.
Yeah.
It takes practice to go to the positive, to have that be our norm, our habit.
Yes. Yeah. I just read this. It's called Humans of New York on Instagram, and I love it so much. I don't know if you're familiar, but it just tells everyday normal people's stories. And the one the other day was this kid, and he had this great coach. I think it was a wrestling coach through high school, and he was just always so positive and helped them go to college and just was this great mentor to them. And he had recently heard that his coach was passing away and was in a nursing home, and he had Alzheimer's and was warned he's not going to remember you, and he didn't. But he walked in, and immediately his coach looked at him and said, oh my goodness, there you are. Have I told you today that I love you? And I just thought that's so sweet, because his nature was so loving and so pure that even in his passing, and even when his mind wasn't functioning as it once had, his nature was just to reach out and love people. And I thought, gosh, I just want to get to that point in my life where my actual being just exudes love and kindness no matter what. And this is a time, Katie, that we can really focus on how are we going to do that and reset that button for us. How are we going to accomplish that for ourselves?
I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, I have goosebumps, just thinking
No,
of
get a little teary.
I know how can we love each other like deeply and ourselves and support each other and connect with each other and just exude that.
Yeah.
at the core of us, because we all deserve that and we all want that. We all just want to be loved.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
great. Love that you're doing this. I'm looking forward to all the other people you're going to have on and the things that I learned from them. And
Me too. Me too. Thank you for coming, and we will talk soon. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone.